So we see the next turn here in Metaurus open up, Roman cav sliding over, Velites charging up the hill. Now they're facing heavier than the normal light infantry is how I'm playing it. So they don't actually want to engage. They're standing at a distance and chucking spears. They'll probably lose. They're lower quality. But they're willing to slow this attack down because actually the staggering of the leaders worked out well that way in terms of this couldn't move forward as a whole force with a line command. What else do we have? Well, we still got this tribune here to slide his line forward, but otherwise most of the Romans have gone, and now we're going to be on to the Carthaginian. What can they do for defense? One thing they've got to worry about is these cav over here. This is not a simple scenario from my standpoint. I am looking at the Carthaginians and saying they're just so overmatched here. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't imagine that they're going to hold off. Yes, the terrain's kind of painful for the Romans, but it's just not... There's nothing that bad in SPQR as far as I can tell. You've got the modifiers shooting uphill, attacking uphill, etc. But it's a couple of column shifts on tables where the numbers, where the legionary forces are just better than what they're facing. I'm frankly not impressed with Rome's chances, or with Carthage's chances of holding that good terrain, no matter how simple-minded the Roman attack. And with the Romans advancing their cav forward, the Celts made an attempt to move forward with their lancers. These mixed results here. They got the worst possible result, which is the historical Celtic or Gallic die roll, which means every unit's going to have to roll to see if it either just runs away from the battle as soon as it's attempted to be activated, or if it's useful for the rest of the game. The one unit that they moved was useful, slammed into a cav, and got a flank attack on a cav, but then a die roll of doom situation where the Romans got to reactivate their cav leader. He smashed in, destroyed that one, and hit another one. Again, this is a situation where cav pursuit is outlawed in the scenario, there being no pursuit boxes. However, it doesn't really make sense to me, although with this rough terrain, more than in some places, that the cav couldn't pursue its opponents on a limited scale. Really, the thinking behind that whole rule and then how it gets turned off on scenarios really bugs me. Anyway, I've tended to just, hey, I'll play with it for now. I'll play with it, but you don't have pursuit boxes because you wouldn't be pursuing off a map. Whether or not in this terrain cav pursuit would make any sense at all, I don't know. But I'm sort of playing with it in my halfway way. So most everybody except the good leaders, the good Roman and the one good Carthaginian leader, have gone. What that's going to mean, I don't know. We're going to try to push those Velites off and take that good ground back. And how this turn's played out, Hasdrubal was able to push down and knock those Velites back for the most part, but the Romans pulled a trump in. Actually, they failed their first one over here, which is why we have Nero way back here, and he's not going to be able to launch his line forward next turn, which is kind of a problem for him. Going to get those Celts ready. And then Livius managed to get a trump in on the next activation. A lot of momentum for Hasdrubal. And he launched one of his lines forward, bringing it up into position, but also did a little bit of rallying back here. Most important thing, prevented yet another round of attack or rallying from Hasdrubal's side. We get a lot of points here. Switching over, the Romans, for example, lost 14. Puts them up to 25. And Carthage 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 is 31. Remember, the skirmishers and elephants are only worth a couple points each instead of their tactical quality. Well, we'll move on to the next turn, see what it brings to us. So here on another turn on Metaurus, pushed forward with these Romans here. Hit the skirmisher line. Now normally hitting the skirmisher line, especially without maintaining stacking, is kind of a problem. Well, here the Romans stayed stacked, so they didn't break their units apart, but they were in dense enough formation that half the line kind of moved forward ahead of the other half. So, given a continuation, actually a second line command, they were able to spend some tactical quality to bring that line back together so we can attack again next time. Now, yes, all the Roman units are a little bit, well, a bunch of them, 6 of the units or so, a little more tired than they would be otherwise. But that's no big deal towards not having to wait a full turn to reorganize the line. Now the line's ready for another attack right away, and facing the Celts, that seems like a pretty safe proposition. Now we gotta go over this guy who's got nothing to do. He'll come up and try to command something, I guess, and then we'll continue with the Romans. And the Romans launched an attack up on the high area where the Iberians are standing. These are all pretty much legionnaires who marched up and pushed their way forward. A couple of velites have continued standing back, throwing their missiles in the background. So as the Romans advanced across the river here, and not really along the line, now the Celts or Gauls were activated and charged forward. Well, only 3 of them actually made their tactical quality checks. The rest all went running of that first line. The second line I didn't get a chance to try to move in. But yeah, we can see how ineffectual those can be given this scenario. Still got this line, which probably is going to advance. This is not Celts. They look the same color, but their other Italians were a little bit more sturdy, and I'm probably going to want to launch them either crashing through the velites or directly at the legionnaires as much as I can, and then try to recover whatever damage is being done there. It doesn't look good for Carthage at all, though. Just, yeah, the numbers aren't with them. In the center of the Carthaginian line surged forward. Drove the velites in front of it, but here's what's kind of neat. Because of how densely packed the Romans were, stacked, positioned, whatever, these routes, instead of going through these nice gaps in the line that are usually there, actually went through double units, causing you know, some tactical quality hits. But we see mainly the lights just running for the hills. We can see if they can get rallied. It's kind of an iffy thing to leave them up in the front, rally them, and leave them in the front after their first engagement. But I hate not using units, so I kind of tried to rally them and put them back in the line. Well, I don't know if that worked out well. They've probably caused as much damage to the Romans as they did to the Carthaginians. Well, here we are at the end of the turn, and the Carthaginian, well, counterattacks coming over here petered out. But they did end up expending the trumping of both Licinius and Nero, the 2 main leaders, the consuls here. In Licinius's case, is it a terrible thing? No, he's got everybody, I think, still in range. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not quite. So this guy is not going to be able to issue a line command automatically. But here it's much worse. His whole command is going to be stuck to individual combats. Now, the Celts might just eliminate themselves the easy way, like they did last turn. I can't really imagine trying to launch that army again, which means that the Roman army can kind of slowly turn piecemeal and march against the flank of the Carthaginians over here, just leaving a small token force, enough to garrison against this that can break those Celts and send them running. Because as it is, we got a pile that are coming off the map. Now, I am going to actually remove these. They're not gone yet. They shouldn't count for route points yet. The reason I'm getting them off there is there's some slingers that I can rally. And so I want to make the points go away. 10, 20, 25. It's going to be 31 total points for Carthage, 5 for Rome for the turn. So what did I say? 31, I think. 10. Yeah, 31 for Carthage. That puts them up to 62. And Rome up to 30. Carthage is about, and not quite, but close to half done. And they haven't really lost all that much. It's just, there isn't that much that they can lose. And these guys are a lot of points just waiting to be plucked. So there's another question. If the Romans actually engage against the Celts and drive them off the field, that weakens the Carthaginian position tremendously as well. If only Nero can get his command up there. His own piece up there. I'll do another turn before I load this vid, I guess. So the Praefect Sectorum up here he started things off, and he's not able to get a line command. He was out of range. He rolled for it. He didn't get it. I don't know if he could have used it anyway, but he did little pulsed attacks here and there. He's got to be careful because he's got to pretty much pick the same kind of unit to do things, and I may have actually cheated in some cases. It's so hard to remember. I think I ended up using some Hastati here. No, yeah, I reduced him, so I've got to probably undo that. And this guy was fine. Yeah, I probably, I know I did this guy that I couldn't have. But it's one of the little picky things, so you got to be careful about who you can command. I'm not sure there was anything that he had within range. He could have gone for this guy. I'm going to do that because, yeah, it's only a 3, and he fails. So this guy routed. But there's definitely a problem with a lot of routing units there, so I wanted to try to maybe help get some of that under control. He's pushing somewhat forward. It doesn't look terribly promising. I think the lights are going to be able to, or they're actually mediums, are going to be able to do a good job on the Romans here, assuming that they get, you know, the kind of continuations that they got last turn, especially if somebody, well, see, here's the problem. Livius was able to trump in and could have taken that away with just one action up there on the mountain, but he got unlucky, as did Nero. And that puts the Romans in kind of a tricky position here. One that they have to recover from. They're losing a lot of units if they don't spend some effort to try to recoup that. So there's a good chance, I think, that the Iberians can retake that hill. We'll see. Alright, well. Oh, there was an attempt to trump in on that leader, which caused this leader to go finished. And now I gotta go to this poor bugger here who can try to rally that one unit, I guess. A heavy Roman push in the center with a couple of places where the Roman line kind of buckled as it attacked, but otherwise it pushed aside those Italian allies for the Carthaginians. And not a lot of movement there. Didn't get a line command. So Porcius can't work like a normal commander for this. He can take line commands, but he can't give them automatically to other people. So we're using Livius's rating there, and we didn't get it. Oh no, we did get it. We did get it. But no momentum. Sorry. Now we got one more commander who's going to have to roll for his line command ability. This is not bad. And he gets that if he wants it, which should be sufficient to charge forward and cause some real problems to those Celts there. Roman cav sweeping around the back of this hill location, the crest where the Iberians are, and knocking some of them out. We see they hunted a few down. Remember, I'm doing that weird mixed version of the pursuit rules that probably is completely illegal. Let's see what the other cav can do. Well, the other Roman cav back here swept away the lancer, recovered some of its force strength, and then got a continuation. And at that point, the Carthaginians said no. rolled a trump and got it with Mago. Basically, they're gambling at this point on everything because they need a lot of luck to get anywhere. And then surged forward with some of that medium infantry hitting the Romans. Mixed results here. You see one Roman unit flew back, but a bunch of them medium infantry also fell back. And then on a momentum for him, he managed to try to recover some of them and lost more than he regained or recovered, which is not a good situation. Now we go back to the Roman 3-point leaders, and I got these kicking around from when I was handing them out to some of those legionary units. And we got one back here, and where else? I guess one here to command this line, or else maybe send those couple cohort units forward, I'm not sure. And then, well, both the Carthaginian 4s have gone, so then we'd also be going with Porcius and moving him forward. Not surprisingly, caught myself cheating again. Forgot that I had trumped a momentum, overriding some of those 3-point guys. One of them rolled a momentum, got it, moved his velites up after having hit with the line, crossing this river, doing fairly well. Rolled another momentum, paid the price for cheating, basically. Got a die roll of doom, and this guy was able to launch Mago or whatever, a line of medium infantry into, in fact, one of them into the flank of the new Romans that have come up. But things are not looking good for Carthage, even though they managed to do some pushing and knock some Romans back, some of the densely populated Roman line. You know, there's just so much Roman force there that as soon as these two groups start grinding together, it's pretty clear that the Carthaginians are going to lose this battle. Alright, well, now we're on to the 4-pointers, and all that's left there is Porcius, and then I guess we go on to Hasdrubal and then the 2 Romans, depending on how things flesh out. Alright, well, I think I've unflipped or whatever all the counters that I had to do and moved all the routers around, etc. It's hard to tell. This is a fairly large and dense battle, so I may have double moved something or not moved something. But, yeah, you know, Hasdrubal got trumped after his first momentum roll succeeded, and then we had Nero come up here, rally these forces, and likewise Livius really just spent his time rallying. He's got another line in place, but he didn't have anywhere to put it. He had a bunch of routed units in the way, and then this line here, and really those Principes can't be pushed forward easily. Let's see what we got as losses here. The Romans only took 15. Now, they had a lot of people routing earlier, but they didn't really have to pay the price. They rallied most of them. And let's see what we got here. We got these Balearic slingers who are nearly worthless. 2, 4, 6, 8. That puts me to 20, 28, some militia. 35, 41, 48, 53 total, and we're getting close. We're at 115, another 30 points easily. You know, I mean, we saw that in this turn. Yeah, it was a painful turn, but I've actually got a good hunk of that I'm paying for a couple of these routed Celts, that's 10 more, a couple Balearics that I probably won't get to rally. So that's about half the points. Pretty much committed to happening, and a lot of routed units that I have a low chance of recovering. And I ran out of route markers, which is why you see these in pursuit and reduced things. Alright, I'm going to load this up. I expect next turn will be the last one. I spent a lot of time on this video, but we should have a short one coming up.